Maya was 12 years old when her whole life changed forever. She lived in a small house at the edge of a tiny village with her grandmother, who everyone called Nana Rose. And Maya loved her grandmother more than anyone else in the world because Nana Rose always told the best stories and made the most delicious cookies that smelled like cinnamon and honey. One rainy afternoon, Maya sat by the window and watched the water drops race down the glass. She liked to pick one drop and cheer for it silently, hoping it would reach the bottom first. But today, she felt bored and restless because the rain had been falling for 3 whole days and she could not go outside to play. "Why, you look so sad, my dear?" Nana Rose asked from her rocking chair, where she sat knitting a bright red scarf. "I want to explore," Maya said with a big sigh. "I want to find something exciting, but there is nothing exciting in this boring little village." Nana Rose smiled in a mysterious way that made her eyes twinkle like stars. "Nothing exciting, you say? Well, perhaps you have not looked hard enough, because this old house has many secrets that even I have not discovered." Maya turned around quickly. "What do you mean, Nana? What kind of secrets?" "This house is over 200 years old," Nana Rose explained. "My grandmother lived here, and her grandmother lived here before her, and who knows what treasures and mysteries they might have left behind." This idea filled Maya with a spark of excitement. She jumped up from her seat and asked if she could explore the attic, and Nana Rose nodded with that same mysterious smile. Maya grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen drawer and climbed the creaky stairs that led to the attic. Each step made a different sound, like the stairs were playing a strange song just for her, and she thought this was already more exciting than anything she had done in weeks. The attic door was old and heavy, and Maya had to push it with both hands to make it open. When she finally stepped inside, she found herself in a room filled with dusty boxes, old furniture covered with white sheets, and spider webs that hung from the ceiling like silver curtains. "Wow," she whispered to herself as she shone her flashlight around the room. There were old paintings stacked against the wall, trunks with rusty locks, shelves filled with books that looked like they might fall apart if she touched them, and so many interesting things that Maya did not know where to start. She decided to begin with a large wooden trunk that sat in the corner. The trunk had beautiful carvings of flowers and birds all over it, and when Maya tried to open it, she found that it was not locked. Inside the trunk, she discovered old clothes that smelled like lavender, a collection of pretty buttons in all different colors, some yellowed letters tied together with a faded ribbon, and at the very bottom, something wrapped in a piece of purple velvet cloth. Maya carefully unwrapped the velvet and gasped when she saw what was inside. It was a golden key, but not like any key she had ever seen before. This key was shaped like a tiny dragon with its wings spread wide, and in the dragon's mouth was the actual key part, which had strange symbols carved into it. "This is the most beautiful thing I have ever found," Maya said to herself as she held the key up to the dim light coming through the attic window. She put the key in her pocket and continued to explore the attic, but now she had a mission. She needed to find what this special key could open. Maya searched behind old paintings and under dusty rugs. She looked inside every box and checked every corner, but she could not find any door or lock that might match her dragon key. Just when she was about to give up and go back downstairs, she noticed something strange. Behind a tall bookshelf in the darkest corner of the attic, there seemed to be a gap in the wall that was darker than the shadows around it. Maya moved closer and shone her flashlight at the gap. Her heart began to beat faster when she realized that the gap was actually the outline of a small door that had been hidden behind the bookshelf for who knows how long. She tried to move the bookshelf, but it was too heavy for her to push alone. So she went downstairs and asked Nana Rose for help, but she did not tell her about the hidden door because she wanted to see what was behind it first. Nana Rose was too old to climb the attic stairs, so she suggested that Maya ask their neighbor, Mr. Thomas, who was a kind old man with strong arms from working in his garden every day. Mr. Thomas was happy to help, and soon the heavy bookshelf was moved away from the wall, revealing a small wooden door that stood only about 4 feet tall. It was painted dark blue, but the paint was chipping and faded, and in the center of the door was a keyhole shaped exactly like a dragon. "Well, would you look at that?" Mr. Thomas said with wonder in his voice. "I have lived next to this house for 30 years and never knew there was a secret door up here." Maya thanked Mr. Thomas for his help, and after he left, she stood alone in front of the mysterious door. Her hands were shaking a little as she pulled the dragon key from her pocket. The key slid into the lock perfectly, like it had been waiting for this moment for hundreds of years. Maya took a deep breath, turned the key, and heard a soft click that seemed to echo through the entire attic. She pushed the door open slowly, and a rush of warm air came out, carrying a sweet smell that reminded her of flowers and sunshine and something magical that she could not name. Beyond the door was not just a room or a closet like Maya had expected. Instead, she saw a swirling tunnel of golden light that seemed to go on forever, and she could hear faint music that sounded like 1,000 tiny bells ringing in the distance. Maya knew that she should probably tell Nana Rose about this discovery. She knew that she should probably be scared. But instead, she felt more excited than she had ever felt in her entire life. She looked back at the attic one more time, took another deep breath, and stepped through the hidden door into the golden light, not knowing that this single step would lead her to the greatest adventure any child had ever experienced. The golden light surrounded Maya like a warm blanket, and she felt herself floating through the swirling tunnel for what seemed like only a few seconds before her feet touched solid ground again. When she opened her eyes, she found herself standing in the middle of the most beautiful meadow she had ever seen. The grass was so green, almost glowed, and flowers of every color imaginable covered the ground as far as she could look. The sky above was a soft purple color with 2 suns hanging in it, one yellow and one pale pink. And Maya knew immediately that she was no longer in her grandmother's attic or anywhere near her village. "Where am I?" she whispered, spinning around to take in all the strange and wonderful sights. Behind her, she could see the door she had come through, standing all by itself in the middle of the meadow like a piece of furniture someone had forgotten to put in a house. And she felt relieved knowing that her way home was still there. Maya started walking through the meadow, and with each step she took, the flowers seemed to lean toward her as if they were curious about this new visitor. She even heard some of them making soft humming sounds, like they were singing tiny songs. After walking for a few minutes, she came to a small stream with water that sparkled like liquid diamonds. She knelt down to look at it more closely and was surprised to see that the water was completely clear, but filled with tiny golden fish that left trails of light behind them as they swam. "You should not drink that water unless you want to speak only in rhymes for a whole week." Maya jumped at the sound of the voice and looked up to see a boy about her age sitting on a large rock on the other side of the stream. He had messy brown hair, bright green eyes, and he was wearing clothes that looked like they were made from leaves and flower petals. "Who are you?" Maya asked, standing up quickly. "My name is Finn," the boy said with a friendly grin. "And you must be a traveler, because only travelers come through the door without a house." "A traveler?" Maya repeated, confused by everything he was saying. Finn jumped off his rock and crossed the stream by hopping on some stepping stones. A traveler is someone from the other world who finds one of the hidden doors and comes here to the land of wonders. It does not happen very often, maybe once every 50 years or so. So this is very exciting. Maya's head was spinning with questions. The land of wonders? Is that what this place is called? And how do you know about the doors? Have you seen other travelers before? Finn laughed at all her questions. Slow down, slow down. Yes, this is the land of wonders, and I know about the doors because everyone here does. I have never seen a traveler myself, but my grandmother used to tell me stories about them. He looked at Maya with curious eyes. What is your name, traveler? My name is Maya, she told him. And I found a dragon key in my grandmother's attic, and it opened the door that I did not even know was there. And then I walked through, and now I am here, and I do not understand anything that is happening. Finn nodded like this all made perfect sense. The dragon key means you are special, Maya. Those keys are given only to families who have helped our world in the past. Your ancestors must have been heroes here in the Land of Wonders. This information amazed Maya. Could her grandmother know about this magical place? Could her great-great-grandmother have been a hero? Come with me, Finn said, waving for her to follow. I will take you to the village of bells, where the wise elder can explain everything much better than I can. Maya decided to trust this strange boy with leaf clothes, and she followed him along a winding path that led through the meadow and into a forest, where the trees had silver bark and leaves that chimed softly in the breeze. As they walked, Finn told her about the Land of Wonders. He explained that magic was as common here as air and water, that creatures of all kinds lived together in peace, and that every child was born with a special gift that made them unique. What is your gift? Maya asked him. I can talk to animals, Finn said proudly. All animals, from the smallest ant to the largest dragon, and they all understand me, and I understand them. Dragons are real here? Maya could hardly believe it. Of course they are. Finn laughed. In fact, the dragons are some of the wisest creatures in all the land, and they guard the crystal mountains in the north. Maybe I can introduce you to one sometime. They continued walking, and Maya noticed that the forest was full of magical creatures. She saw tiny fairies no bigger than her thumb, glowing butterflies that left sparkles in the air, rabbits with feathered wings, and once she even spotted a fox that seemed to be made entirely of blue fire. Everything here is so amazing, Maya said in wonder. I feel like I am dreaming. You are not dreaming, Finn assured her. But I understand why you might think so. The other world has lost most of its magic, or so I have heard, so this must all seem very strange to you. Finally, they came out of the forest, and Maya saw the village of bells spread out before her. It was the most charming place she had ever seen, with colorful houses that looked like giant mushrooms, and hanging from every roof and tree and lamppost were hundreds of tiny bells that rang sweetly in the wind. The people of the village looked mostly like regular humans, but Maya noticed that many of them had unusual features. Some had hair that changed color as they moved, others had pointed ears, and a few even had small wings growing from their backs. When the villagers noticed Maya and Finn walking down the main street, they stopped what they were doing and stared. Then whispers began to spread through the crowd like ripples in a pond. A traveler has come. Look at her strange clothes. She must have a dragon key. Does the elder know? Finn waved at everyone and called out. Yes, she is a traveler, and her name is Maya, and I am taking her to see the wise elder right now. The crowd parted to let them through, and Maya felt very shy with all these magical strangers watching her. But she also felt a little proud, because everyone seemed so excited about her arrival. They walked up a hill to the largest mushroom house in the village, which was painted a deep purple color and had windows that glowed with warm golden light. Finn knocked on the round door 3 times, and then they waited. The door swung open, and there stood an old woman with long white hair that floated around her head like it was under water, and eyes that were completely silver and seemed to see right through Maya to her very soul. I have been expecting you, young Maya, the wise elder said in a voice that sounded like music. Come inside, for we have much to discuss. The Land of Wonders needs your help, and time is running short. Maya stepped inside the wise elder's house and immediately felt like she had entered another world within a world. The walls were lined with shelves full of glowing bottles. ancient books, and strange objects that moved on their own. And in the center of the room was a large table with a map that seemed to be alive, with tiny trees swaying and miniature rivers actually flowing. "Please, sit down," the elder said, pointing to two cushioned chairs near the table. "My name is Elder Rosewood, and I have waited many years for a traveler to come through the door." Maya and Finn sat down, and Maya noticed that Finn looked nervous, which made her feel nervous too. If someone who lived in this magical land was worried, then something must be very wrong. "I will not waste time with pleasantries," Elder Rosewood said as she sat across from them. "Our land is in great danger, Maya, and according to an ancient prophecy, only a traveler with a dragon key can save us." "What kind of danger?" Maya asked, her voice shaking just a little. The elder waved her hand over the map, and it zoomed in to show a dark mountain surrounded by gray clouds and dead trees. For thousands of years, the Shadow King has been imprisoned beneath the dark mountain in the east, but his prison is weakening, and soon he will break free. "Who is the Shadow King?" Maya wanted to know. "He was once a powerful wizard who wanted to rule all of the Land of Wonders," Elder Rosewood explained. "He used dark magic to create an army of shadow creatures, and he nearly destroyed everything we love. It took all the magic users in the land working together to finally trap him, but they could not destroy him completely." Finn added quietly, "My grandmother told me stories about the Shadow King. She said that when he walks free, the sun will turn black and all the color will drain from the world, and nothing will grow ever again." Maya felt a cold fear creeping through her body. "But how can I help? I am just a regular girl from a regular village. I do not have any magic or special powers." Elder Rosewood smiled gently. "That is where you are wrong, dear child. The very fact that you found the dragon key and came through the door proves that you have magic inside you, even if you do not know how to use it yet." She reached across the table and took Maya's hands in hers. "Your great-great-grandmother was a hero in our land 200 years ago. She helped trap the Shadow King, and she carried a great power within her blood, a power that has been passed down through your family." "My great-great-grandmother was a hero here." Maya could hardly believe it. "Her name was Elena, and she was brave and kind and clever," the elder said. "And she made a promise before she returned to the other world. She promised that if the Shadow King ever threatened to return, her family would come back to help defeat him once and for all." Maya thought about Nana Rose and all the stories she used to tell. Were those stories actually true? Did Nana Rose know about the Land of Wonders? "What do I need to do?" Maya asked, surprising herself with how brave she sounded. Elder Rosewood pointed to 3 spots on the magical map. "There are 3 sacred objects scattered across the Land of Wonders: the Crystal Heart, the Phoenix Feather, and the Moon Pearl. You must collect all 3 and bring them to the Dark Mountain before the next full moon." "That is only 5 days away," Finn exclaimed. "Yes, time is very short," the elder agreed. "But I believe in you, Maya. I have seen it in the stars and in the patterns of the wind. You are the one who can do this." She handed Maya a small leather bag that was bigger on the inside than it looked on the outside. "This bag will keep the sacred objects safe, and it will also hold whatever supplies you need for your journey." Then she turned to Finn. "I am asking you to go with her, young Finn. Your gift of speaking to animals will be very helpful, and Maya will need a friend who knows this land." Finn stood up straight and tall. "I will not let you down, Elder Rosewood. I will protect Maya with my life." Maya felt grateful to have Finn as her companion. She did not want to face this dangerous quest alone. The first object, the Crystal Heart, is hidden in the Caves of Echoes to the north, Elder Rosewood explained. "The caves are guarded by a creature called the Stone Guardian, who will test your courage before allowing you to pass." She looked at Maya with serious eyes. "Many have tried to retrieve the Crystal Heart over the years, but all have failed because they let their fear control them. You must be braver than your fear, Maya. That is the only way." Maya nodded, trying to memorize everything the elder was telling her. "The second object, the phoenix feather, is kept in the Temple of Fire on the burning plains to the west," the elder continued. "The temple is home to the last phoenix in existence, and she will only give you a feather if you prove that your heart is pure." "How do I prove that?" Maya asked. "I cannot tell you, for the phoenix sees truth in her own way," Elder Rosewood replied. "But I sense great goodness in you, Maya. I believe the phoenix will see it too." "And the third object?" Finn asked. "The moon pearl rests at the bottom of the silver lake in the south," the elder said. "The lake is protected by the water spirits, who love riddles and games. You must solve their riddles to earn the pearl." Maya's head was spinning with all this information. Caves and temples and lakes, guardians and phoenixes and spirits, and only 5 days to collect everything and save an entire world. "I know this is overwhelming," Elder Rosewood said kindly. "But remember that you are not alone. You have Finn, and you have the magic in your blood, and you have the hope of every creature in this land." She stood up and walked to a shelf, returning with a small silver compass. "This compass will always point toward the sacred object you seek. It will guide you on your path." Maya took the compass and watched as the needle spun around before pointing steadily toward the north. "Thank you, Elder Rosewood. I will do my best." "I know you will," the elder said. "Now go and rest at Finn's home tonight, for tomorrow your journey begins." As Maya and Finn walked back through the village, Maya felt the weight of responsibility pressing on her shoulders. An entire world was counting on her, a girl who just this morning had been complaining about being bored. "Are you scared?" Finn asked her. "Yes," Maya admitted. "I am very scared. But I'm also excited, and I think being brave does not mean you are not scared. I think it means you do the right thing even when you are scared." Finn grinned at her. "I think your great-great-grandmother would be very proud of you, Maya." They arrived in a cozy little house made from a tree stump, where Finn lived with his mother, who welcomed Maya warmly and made them a delicious dinner of honey bread and berry soup. That night, as Maya lay in a soft bed made of feathers and flowers, she thought about Nana Rose and wondered if her grandmother was worried about her. Time might pass differently between the two worlds, but Maya still missed her. She pulled the dragon key from her pocket and held it close to her heart. "I will make you proud, great-great-grandmother Elena," she whispered. "I will save the land of wonders." Outside the window, the 2 suns had set and 3 moons had risen, painting the sky in shades of silver and gold. Somewhere in the distance, Maya heard a wolf howl, but it did not sound scary. It sounded almost like a welcome song. Tomorrow, her quest would begin, and Maya knew that her life would never be the same. The morning came quickly, and Maya woke up feeling more determined than she had ever felt in her life. After a breakfast of sweet fruits and warm tea, she and Finn set off on their quest with the silver compass leading the way. Their first stop was the Caves of Echoes, and it took them a whole day of walking through meadows and forest to reach the entrance. The cave mouth was enormous, large enough for a giant to walk through, and it was so dark inside that Maya could not see anything beyond the first few steps. "I have heard many scary stories about this place," Finn whispered. "They say the echoes inside can show you your worst fears." Maya took a deep breath and held up a glowing stone that Elder Rosewood had packed in her bag. "Then we will just have to be braver than our fears, like the elder said." They walked into the cave together, and immediately Maya heard her own voice bouncing off the walls, saying things she had never actually said. "You are too weak," the echo whispered. "You will fail everyone. You are just a silly girl playing pretend." Maya felt her heart begin to race with fear, but she kept walking. She knew these were just echoes trying to scare her, and she would not let them win. Finn was having his own troubles. The echoes were telling him that the animals he loved would turn against him, that he was not as special as he thought, but he grabbed Maya's hand and together they pushed deeper into the cave. Finally, they reached a large chamber where a massive creature made entirely of stone stood blocking their path. It was the Stone Guardian, and it was as tall as 3 men stacked on top of each other, with glowing red eyes that stared down at them. "Who dares enter my cave?" The Guardian's voice boomed so loudly that rocks fell from the ceiling. "My name is Maya, and I am a traveler," Maya said, trying to keep her voice steady. "I have come for the Crystal Heart to save the Land of Wonders from the Shadow King." The Stone Guardian laughed, and the sound was like thunder. "Many have come with brave words, but all have run away when faced with their true test." The Guardian waved its enormous hand, and suddenly Maya found herself alone in complete darkness. Finn had disappeared, and she could not even see her own hands in front of her face. Then she heard a voice that made her blood run cold. It was the Shadow King himself, speaking directly into her mind. "Give up now, little girl," he hissed. "You cannot defeat me. Go home and let this world fall into darkness." Maya wanted to run. Every part of her body was screaming at her to escape, but she remembered what she had told Finn about being brave, and she stood her ground. "No!" she shouted into the darkness. "I will not give up. I do not care how scared I am. I will fight until there is no fight left in me." Suddenly, the darkness vanished, and she was back in the chamber with Finn beside her. The Stone Guardian was smiling, which looked very strange on a face made of rock. "You have passed the test," the Guardian said more gently. "Your courage is true." It opened its massive stone hand to reveal a beautiful crystal heart that pulsed with soft blue light. Maya took it carefully and placed it in her magical bag. "Thank you," she said to the Guardian, and it nodded before returning to its sleeping position against the wall. The next 2 days were filled with more adventures as Maya and Finn traveled to the Temple of Fire. The burning plains were hot and dry, with flames that danced in the air and ground that glowed orange beneath their feet. Finn's animal friends helped them along the way. Birds showed them where to find water, and a family of fire-resistant lizards led them through the most dangerous parts of the plains. When they finally reached the temple, they found it was made of golden flames that somehow did not burn. And inside, perched on a throne of fire, was the most beautiful bird Maya had ever seen. The phoenix had feathers of red and orange and gold that shimmered like the sun, and when she spoke, her voice was warm and kind. "Welcome, young traveler. I have been waiting for you." "You have?" Maya was surprised. "I can see into hearts," the phoenix explained. "And I saw yours coming from far away. It is a good heart, filled with love for your grandmother and care for your new friend, and a desire to help others even when you are afraid." The phoenix plucked a single golden feather from her wing and floated it down to Maya. "Take this feather with my blessing. You have already proven your heart is pure simply by making this journey." Maya caught the feather, which was warm but did not burn her, and she placed it in her bag alongside the crystal heart. "Thank you so much, beautiful phoenix." Now, they had only one more object to find, but time was running out. They had just 2 days left until the full moon, and the Silver Lake was still a full day's journey away. They traveled through the night, with glowing fireflies lighting their path and friendly wolves running alongside them to keep them safe. Maya's feet were tired and her body ached, but she refused to stop. When they finally reached the Silver Lake, Maya gasped at its beauty. The water was so clear and still that it looked like a giant mirror reflecting the sky, and she could see all the way to the bottom, where something round and white glowed softly. "The moon pearl!" Finn pointed excitedly. But before Maya could take a single step toward the water, the surface began to bubble, and 3 figures made entirely of water rose up. These were the water spirits, and they looked at Maya with curious eyes that swirled like whirlpools. "A traveler seeks our treasure," the first spirit said in a voice like a flowing stream. "She must answer our riddles," the second spirit added. "3 riddles she must solve correctly. If she fails even one, she must leave empty-handed," the third spirit warned. Maya squared her shoulders. "I am ready." The first spirit swirled around her. "I have cities but no houses, forests but no trees, and water but no fish. What am I?" Maya thought hard. Cities with no houses, forests with no trees. And then it came to her. "You are a map." The spirit nodded and sank back into the lake, and the second spirit came forward. "The more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I?" This one was trickier, but Maya remembered walking through the forest and looking back at the path. "Footsteps," she exclaimed. The second spirit smiled and disappeared, leaving only the third. "I can fly without wings. I can cry without eyes. Wherever I go, darkness flies. What am I?" Maya felt panic rising in her chest. She did not know this riddle. She closed her eyes and thought about everything she had seen in this magical world. And then she remembered looking up at the sky that first night. A cloud. She shouted. "Clouds fly without wings. They cry rain without eyes. And when they move, the darkness of their shadows moves too." The third spirit laughed with delight and clapped her watery hands. "Correct, clever traveler. You have earned the moon pearl." The spirits parted, and Maya waded into the lake. The water was cool and pleasant, and when she reached down to pick up the moon pearl, it felt warm and happy in her hands, like it was glad to finally have a purpose. With all 3 sacred objects in her bag, Maya and Finn looked toward the east, where dark clouds gathered around the distant dark mountain. They had 1 day left, and the hardest part of their journey was still ahead. Maya and Finn traveled through the night toward the dark mountain, and with every step they took, the air grew colder and the sky grew darker. The colorful beauty of the land of wonders faded into gray and brown, and Maya knew they were getting close to the Shadow King's prison. By dawn on the day of the full moon, they stood at the base of the dark mountain. It was a terrifying sight, with black rock that seemed to absorb all light and twisted dead trees that reached toward the sky like skeletal hands. "I cannot go any further," Finn said, his voice trembling. "There is some kind of magic barrier that keeps out everyone except the traveler." Maya felt her heart sink. She did not want to face what was ahead alone. But when she looked at Finn's face, she saw that he was crying, and she realized he was just as scared for her as she was for herself. "You have been the best friend anyone could ask for," Maya said, hugging him tightly. "Thank you for coming this far with me. I could never have done it without you." "Promise me you will come back," Finn begged. "I promise," Maya said, though she was not sure if it was a promise she could keep. She turned and walked through the invisible barrier, feeling it tingle against her skin like walking through a curtain of electricity. On the other side, everything was silent except for the sound of her own breathing. Maya climbed the mountain path for hours, her legs burning and her lungs aching, until she finally reached a large flat area near the peak. In the center was an enormous crack in the ground, and rising from that crack was a darkness so complete that it hurt her eyes to look at it. "So, the little traveler has come," a voice slithered out of the crack. "I must admit, I did not think you would make it this far." The darkness began to take shape, forming into a tall figure with no face, only 2 burning red eyes. This was the Shadow King, and even though he was not fully free yet, his presence made Maya feel like all hope was lost. "I have the sacred objects," Maya said, her voice shaking but determined. "I am here to stop you once and for all." The Shadow King laughed, and his laugh was like the sound of nightmares. "Stop me? You are nothing but a child." Your great-grandmother could only trap me, and she was the most powerful magic user of her time. What makes you think you can do any better?" Maya pulled the three objects from her bag: the crystal heart, the phoenix feather, and the moon pearl. They glowed brightly in her hands, and she felt their power flowing into her. "I am not alone," Maya said, her voice growing stronger. "I carry the hope of every creature in this land. I carry the love of my grandmother and the friendship of Finn. And I carry the courage of my ancestors who fought you before." She held the objects up high, and they began to float in the air, spinning around each other in a circle. The crystal heart glowed blue, the phoenix feather burned gold, and the moon pearl shone silver, and together they created a light so bright that even the Shadow King had to shield his eyes. "This is impossible." The Shadow King screamed. "You do not have the power." But Maya did have the power. She felt it surging through her body like a river of light, and she understood now what Elder Rosewood had meant about the magic in her blood. It had been sleeping inside her all along, waiting for this moment. "By the power of courage, purity, and wisdom," Maya shouted, remembering what each object represented, "I command you to return to the darkness forever." The three objects merged together into a single beam of brilliant white light that shot straight at the Shadow King. He screamed and tried to fight back, sending waves of darkness toward Maya, but her light was stronger. The battle lasted only a few minutes, but it felt like hours. Maya poured everything she had into the light, all her hope and love and bravery, and slowly the Shadow King began to fade. "This is not over," he shrieked as his form dissolved. "I will return. I always return." "No," Maya said firmly. "You will not. Not ever again." With one final burst of light, the Shadow King disappeared completely, and the crack in the ground sealed itself shut. The sacred objects floated gently back down into Maya's hands, and she fell to her knees, exhausted but triumphant. All around her, the mountain began to change. The black rock turned to normal gray stone. The dead trees sprouted green leaves, and flowers pushed up through the ground. Color was returning to this dark place. Maya slowly made her way back down the mountain, and when she crossed through the barrier, Finn was there waiting for her with the biggest smile on his face. "You did it!" he shouted, running to hug her. The whole sky just lit up and all the darkness disappeared. "You actually did it!" Maya laughed and hugged him back. "We did it together, Finn. I never could have gotten here without you." They traveled back to the village of Bells, where every single person and creature had gathered to celebrate. There was music and dancing and more delicious food than Maya had ever seen, and Elder Rosewood declared Maya a hero of the Land of Wonders. "You have saved us all," the elder said, placing a crown of flowers on Maya's head. "And you will always be welcome here, now and forever." But as happy as Maya was, she knew it was time to go home. She had been gone for 5 days in this world, and she missed Nana Rose terribly. Finn walked with her back to the meadow, where the door without a house still stood waiting. They stopped in front of it, and neither of them wanted to say goodbye. "Will I ever see you again?" Finn asked, his eyes filled with tears. Maya thought about everything she had learned and experienced. "I do not know," she admitted, "but I will try to come back. I promise I will try." She hugged Finn one last time, then pulled the dragon key from her pocket. It fit perfectly into the lock, and when she turned it, the door swung open to reveal the golden tunnel of light. "Goodbye, Finn," Maya said. "Thank you for everything." "Goodbye, Maya," Finn whispered. "Hero of the Land of Wonders." Maya stepped through the door and felt the warm light surround her once more. When it faded, she found herself standing in her grandmother's attic, exactly where she had started. She ran downstairs and found Nana Rose in the kitchen, and the old woman's eyes went wide when she saw Maya. "The door," Nana Rose whispered. "You found the door." Maya realized then that her grandmother had known all along. The stories, the key hidden in the trunk, everything had been waiting for Maya to discover it when she was ready. "I met Elder Rosewood," Maya said, rushing into her grandmother's arms. "And I defeated the Shadow King, just like great-grandmother Elena did." Nana Rose held her tight and laughed through her tears. "I knew you would, my brave girl. I always knew you had that magic inside you." Outside the window, the rain had finally stopped, and the sun was shining brighter than Maya had ever seen. And when she looked closely, she thought she could see a tiny bit of golden sparkle in the sunlight, a reminder that magic existed in this world too, if you only knew where to look. Maya had left her village as a bored little girl with nothing exciting to do, but she returned as a hero with a heart full of courage and a story that she would remember for the rest of her life. And sometimes, late at night, she would take out the dragon key and hold it close, dreaming of the land of wonders and her friend Finn, and all the magical adventures that might still be waiting for her on the other side of the hidden door.